So I'm here with David Moss. By the way, David, is it always David Moss Jr.? Is it David Moss? Well, how do you do it?
So I've kind of been branded as David Moss Jr. I'm actually not even a junior. Like we have different middle names, me and my dad.
Really?
But yeah, but when we worked together for a long time, he was David Moss. I just became David Moss Jr. And it just kind of stuck. It's weird actually. Now that I think about it, I guess I'm not a junior, but just keep calling me junior because
I like it.
that's how you
Yeah,
find me
yeah,
on the socials.
for sure. All right, so this series is for CPG wellness brands and like those ones that are going to market. And so they could be where someone has just an idea and they haven't done anything yet, or maybe they're within their first year. But basically, what I wanted to do, so there's a lot in when it comes to running a CPG wellness brand that I know, especially my background within the agency space with paid social. But there's so much that I don't know. And what I wanted to do is learn a lot and get on a call with people like you that are experts in your area that are gracious enough to chat. And I thought, hey, why not record it that way while I'm getting a lot of my questions answered, other people can benefit from it. So that's the goal here. It's meant to be really like practical, tactical. And David, you and I haven't talked much shop. We met at a Eric Hinman event earlier this year and stayed in touch a little bit. But like I mentioned to you, so I run an advertising agency. We have about 50, 60 people. We work with wellness brands, especially in the cannabis and hemp space, but then also outside of that and more and more. And what I'd love for you to do is just share, I can kind of watch it, but just share like, what you do and how you would frame what you do.
Cool. Yeah. So I was in big business for 20 years. I started at 15 years old in the car business, washing cars, working on cars, turned 18, started selling cars, got promoted to what they would call a closer, and then finance. I worked in every position all the way up to my more recent position that I left willingly last year, the vice president. We had 400 employees, 4 rooftops, big box dealerships, Nissan dealerships, Chevrolet, Acura, et cetera, et cetera. We had our own marketing media company that I was very involved in, and I learned a ton from that business. And it was great. Like I was in automotive for 20 years, so I learned a ton. Got to meet a lot of great people, a lot of powerful people, a lot of very, very, a lot of professionals in their spaces. And it was awesome. I honestly thought that was going to be my whole life. Car business just seemed like a part of my life. And it was somewhere around 2020, I've always had social media. I always kept it private just for like the whole, like, keep your kids off social media, keep your face off social media. There's a lot of weirdos out there, and there's weirdos out there, whether they're on social media or not. So like, I have faith in Jesus. So like at the end of the day, I don't want to, I don't want to be silly about it, but like, I definitely have faith that, God will protect us. So I made my profiles public, and I started sharing about some of the health and wellness stuff that I was doing, because if you look around in the car business, most of them are out of shape. Most of them smoke, drink, and it wasn't necessarily a great environment for health. And then I started to really like make it a point to work on myself, even in high hour work environments like that. And I started sharing it. So I started sharing some of the health and wellness stuff that I was doing, a lot of the recovery stuff I was doing for the brain, for the mind, including sauna, cold plunging, red light therapy, grounding, avoiding chemicals, stuff like that. So I started sharing that on YouTube back in like 2021, and it caught on pretty fast. Wasn't expecting to be a content creator or a YouTuber or anything like that, but I found that I guess my delivery of what I was sharing was well received, and then companies were reaching out to me and they wanted to work with me and they wanted me to talk about their products, and I didn't need it. I made really good money in the car business, so like I could purchase things that I wanted. I didn't need the products. I didn't need the retainer deals or anything like that. I was making great money. So I was just like, I'll try your stuff, and if it's good, I'll share it. If it's good, I'll share it. So I got a lot of products sent to me in a short amount of time. It was really cool. My wife was like, what the heck's going on here? Why do we get packages every single day? And I was kind of juggling, like I was running a large automotive group, and I was on, in the mornings, evenings, and Sundays, which were my only time off, I would shoot some content, and like I would just do it on my phone, nothing too crazy. And I would just share. And turns out I was pretty decent at it. And then last year on my birthday, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to quit my job, everything I've ever known, abruptly, and go for being, I'm just going to see what happens. Like I felt God pulling me in this direction. I was nervous, but also excited, which is a good thing. And so now, very long answer to a short question, I'm a full-time content creator, and I get to work with some of the best health and wellness brands out there, a lot of lifestyle brands now, even working with like furniture brands. It's kind of crazy, but God has definitely opened up a ton of doors, met a lot of great people like you, Eric Hinman, just some really great people in my life now that it's just it's a really cool adventure. And
Yeah.
now I've been full-time content creator for just over a year, and God has provided in some crazy, amazing ways.
That's awesome, dude. Thanks for sharing. And it's actually kind of cool. So you mentioned your kids. I love just how intentional you are with your kids. And my wife and I try and be very intentional, with the kids working out and all of that. It's funny. My wife sent me a reel the other day, and it was you and your kids. I was like, yeah, that's David. It's David and his family.
No
So
way.
that's always fun. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
You guys had some. I know tons of your stuff goes viral. But just recently, I think something also popped off with the kids working out or something like that, right?
It was wild. Yeah, there's one reel that went wild. It's got like 25 million views on Instagram, which is crazy. Yeah, it's just my kids working out. So like I built a gym outdoors. We're always outside. We live in Florida, so we're always outside. We're always in our bathing suits. We're always barefoot. So just disclaimer, it's my kids working out barefoot in bathing suits. Some people think that's weird, but I mean, if you grew up in Florida, it's weird if you're not. They actually wrote their own workout. So I had these little whiteboards where I'll write my workout every day, and I'll go out there, and I always ask them like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna work out if you want to work out." And sometimes they'll come, sometimes they won't. I don't push it, but I try to make it a fun environment. I put music on, have a speaker out there. They all know how to use it. So one morning I had my coffee and I hear like music out there, and I was gonna go and prep to work out, and it's not a staged reel. Like the cool thing about it, and some people think it is, it wasn't staged. I literally walked outside, and they're in the middle of a workout that they wrote, that Sayla coached everybody on the moves, and it's my youngest kids. Like my oldest daughter was still asleep at the time, but my younger three were out there working out, and it was awesome.
That's
And it was
awesome.
literally like an 8-second reel. I'm like, oh my gosh, I walk outside and my kids are working out. I'm gonna cry. Like it was just so cool. Like as a dad in the health and wellness space, like you don't I don't want my kids to do anything they don't want to do, but to see
Mhm.
them do it on their own, it really did touch my heart, and I shared it, and apparently a lot of people liked it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and quick aside, when it comes to like working out with your kids, like that's something that's special. Like I've been working out is regular. It's been a part of my life for 25 years or so. And I've noticed like even this morning, like when I'm working out at home, like outside, like the kids, like they'll ask me, "You still working out?" And they join and they love it. It's like awesome quality time with the kids, and you really
Dude,
mastered that.
we try
All
to
right.
make like so in our at our house, like we try to make spaces really inviting for our friends, for our kids, for our
Yeah.
kids'
Right.
friends and families. So like every blank space on our property, we've kind of turned into something like, and I'm blessed to be able to work with some pretty awesome brands who supply me with really cool stuff. But I've got like my outdoor gym over there. I've got a sauna and 2 cold plunges. I've got a basketball court over here that has, I call it Plunge Village. Plunge has outfitted the whole thing. I got a plunge sauna, 3 different cold plunges, a rebounder. We have a top deck, same thing. We've got our barrel sauna that overlooks. We've got like 3 or 4, and not to boast, this is just like everywhere you look, there's like a way to get well. And like last night, my daughter's like, "Hey, Dad, can we get in the sauna tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we can get in the
Yeah.
sauna every night." But like, she's
Yeah.
like,
I
"All right,
love
cool."
that.
So she goes and turns it on, like, because she knows how to turn it on. And then they have a friend come over, and he jumps in the sauna with us, and it's like so fun. Like,
Yeah.
I'm stoked to be able to have like the property in the house that like
Right.
is inviting, and I'm able to have people over to experience the stuff that you have to usually pay a membership to go and enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
But enough about that.
Yeah, and so I know that you were a creator, and I know you also have content for creators. Like I know you launched earlier this year the Creators Playbook, which I think
Yeah,
is content to
I have
help
that right here.
creators basically do what do what you've done. And I took a look at it too. It looks like really like well produced, like good content for creators. And so, so this year what I want to do is talk to the brands and kind of give an inside
Cool.
look for the brands that might be new to working with creators, and you really just want to know how that works.
For sure.
And by the way, I was grabbing from my closet. I was gonna throw a sweatshirt on, and I chose this one random. I usually don't, but I have this sweatshirt because of you. I actually saw this sweatshirt
Yeah.
from Legends. You were wearing it, and I was like, man, I love that sweatshirt. You actually let me throw it on to check the size. But then
Yeah, bro.
I bought it from Legends. Use your code, and I happened I bought I think it was the first thing I've ever bought from them, and bought a number of things from them, because of that. And use your code.
Bro,
Yeah, but I
thanks,
thought I'd
man.
throw this on for that. Yeah, of course. But it's a great example of where, like, I don't know how, but I really never knew the brand legends. I would always just be like a kind of a Lulu guy, or Nike, and I didn't know the brand existed, and I love it. It's exact type of clothing that I like, but it's an example of how, like, the work that you do connects brands with consumers. So
Yeah, man.
do me a favor. So I'm going to be really tactical the way
Let's
my
go.
mind works. So creator, affiliate, brand ambassador, are they all basically the same? Are they different? Like, what's the difference between a creator, affiliate, brand ambassador?
It's I don't really think there's much of a difference. You basically represent a brand. So either you're paid. So like I have I have deals with brands that they call me a partner because I'm paid monthly no matter what I produce, which is cool. And then I have deals where I'm a brand ambassador, which is basically being an affiliate. I would say brand ambassador and affiliate are the same thing, just depending on the brand. They want to call you a different name. But I think there's a lot of a difference. There's a huge difference when it comes to exclusivity and non-exclusivity. So I think if I'm talking to the brands right here, everybody wants a creator to be exclusive to them. Why not, right? You want them,
Yeah.
if I'm going to represent a cold plunge company, everybody would love me to be exclusive because my audience loves cold plunging. So like if you follow me on YouTube, my videos about cold plunging always do really well. My videos on other products don't get as many views, but it's a very strategic strategy with each brand that I work with on Google friendly content. But that's a whole nother side. The whole point to this part is if you have a creator that you want to work with and you try to lock them down on an exclusivity, a lot of them will, depending on what type of creator they are, or what their audience is like. But you got to also understand authenticity is king in the creator space. And when a brand is exclusive to a creator or a creator is exclusive to a brand, it comes across that way. It's like if I only talked about, Ice Barrel, only talked about Ice Barrel, only ever talked about Ice Barrel. Ice Barrel's the best. Ice Barrel's the best. Oh my gosh, this is the best cold plunge. It's fake. It's not, because there's a lot of great cold plunges out there.
Yeah.
And my opinion shouldn't really, like, I'm not going to sell any products to somebody because I'm telling them what I think about a product.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's the best. And I see that, I see that a lot, and it makes me, like feel bad because it's like, man, some brand paid that person to do this reel, to do that creative, to say those words, and they're not going to get a return on that because it's fake, like, and it feels fake.
Yeah.
And I think the reason the creator space and the landscape is changing a lot right now is because a lot of brands want their creators to be exclusive to them. They want them to, do 3-month deals. A lot of people want to do 3-month deals. I hate 3-month deals. 3-month deals are so stupid because my audience, unless it's like it's a YouTube video that's a Google specific video, which YouTube long form, evergreen content and short form entertainment, Instagram, TikTok content, so different. They're so different. They're two completely different strategies we could talk about. But if we're going to do some kind of Instagram content and I'm only talking about this brand, really, like, it comes out of nowhere and I'm just talking about this hat, best hat in the whole wide world. Oh my gosh, look at how this hat looks on me. It's cool, right? Everyone loves this hat. For 3 months, my audience is seeing me talk. You got to buy this hat. Greatest hat in the planet. And then it falls off because I'm not getting paid anymore. Well, the audience is like, well, shoot, I'm glad I didn't buy that stupid hat.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
And the audience is very smart. Like, people aren't dumb. Like, they see that. So if I'm talking to the brands, like, be strategic. If you want to work with somebody on short form content, it has to be long term.
Yeah.
And you have to give them creative freedom. Like, not every creator is that creative. A lot of people just, had a niche, blew up, had a viral video, blew up, have an audience now, but they're not good at selling products. So like, there's a couple different strategies. One, you have a creator that is just a billboard. Like, they have a large audience and you just want them to see your product. They're not going to convert a lot of sales personally. Like, their code's not going to generate a lot of sales, but they're a great billboard. They've got a lot of people that watch their content. They have viral content, and it's more of like the Truman Show product placement. Like, it's just, they see a flash buy and it's there, but they're not like, ooh, it's best in the whole wide world. It's very organic. It's very authentic, and it's just a part of their life. I love that strategy. That strategy seems to work long term, but to many brands, they don't like that strategy because you can't attribute any sales to that creator. And that's hard to swallow. You're spending X
Yeah,
amount of
sure.
dollars to have talent, to have somebody make creative for you, and you can't attribute any sales to them or very many sales to them. It can feel
Yeah,
like this is a bad investment, but
yeah.
you just
And the
gotta you
second it
just gotta
gets,
commit to it.
yeah,
Go
and when
ahead.
it gets tight at a company, when there's a quarter that gets tight, and I imagine that that's where they tighten up first is when they can't
Probably.
attribute.
Yep. Yeah. The first to go in my experience from automotive is unfortunately compensation and advertising. Those are the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
two
sure.
that they get trimmed. And unfortunately, like those are the two you shouldn't trim. Like there's a lot of other
Yeah,
areas you should trim. There's a,
yeah, yeah,
not to tell businesses how to run, but there's, that's, that's a small percentage. It's a lot of money, but it's a
yeah,
small percentage of areas you should look at. But when you're trimming your advertisement, how do you expect to grow?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you made a good point on the exclusivity. Like if I think about it as a consumer, like even you, like when it comes to you do a lot of content on cold plunges, and if you were like I genuinely like when we've been moving around a lot, but we'll probably buy a cold plunge at a new place in the next few months, and like your content, like if it was all like you mentioned, just one brand or one the other, I would just assume back in my mind that we kind of got to go through one year, one the out because David's getting paid by this brand. I wouldn't think he's exclusive with this brand, but I just know you're always talking about this brand, and you're never going to tell me anything bad about that brand, or maybe not the brand, but the product, or something that you don't love about the product. But since you do talk about a lot of different products in that same category, I trust what you're saying. So that's actually interesting. That's a good point on the exclusivity. I haven't really thought of it before.
Yeah, a lot.
But you're
Well,
saying
it
that
just
brands
is
want it.
well, brands want it, of course. Like,
Yeah.
let's say a brand says, "Hey, I want to pay you. I want to pay you. We'll call it 10 grand a month. Like, I want to pay you
Mhm.
$10,000 a month to talk about our product and to do this, and this deliverable." They're not going to want you to also talk about their direct competitor.
Yeah,
It
sure.
just
Yeah,
feels
right.
wrong.
Yeah, right.
It just doesn't feel normal. But it's a game, that we're playing, and it's not like us. It's not a creator against a brand. It's the creators and brands have to work together to give the audience, who's the end user, the consumer, what
Hmm.
they need to see and hear in order to make a decision. We can't tell consumers what to buy. We have to give them the information so they can make their own decisions. And that's something that a lot of creators don't understand, and I think a lot of brands understand, but they don't want to put it at the forefront of their thought processes. Is like, hey, like they think that a creator with a big audience is just gonna like, hey, all right, let's give that guy X amount of dollars and some product, and in 3 months he's gonna help us sell a bunch of product. It doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And I offer, when I work with brands, I offer free consulting with them where I share with them like my numbers with everybody. I share with them what I'm doing with everybody. I'm very transparent. I want everybody to win. And at the end of the day, there is not one brand I work with that's the absolute best brand that no other brand deserves to be in the market. Like
right.
there's room for everybody. And like for me, I do about $1 million in sales every single month. A lot of that's cold plunges, and it's multiple different
Yeah,
brands. They do hundreds of thousands per in sales for a lot of different cold plunge brands. And it just tells you that there's room for everybody.
yeah, absolutely.
There's
Yeah,
definitely room
absolutely.
for everybody.
Yeah,
And I think that's just, it's hard to accept that, but once it's accepted, like you can go a lot further.
yeah, makes sense. So tell me this. So as you know, like I have a background in paid social, and so most of the like in our agency, most of what we do is paid social. Now, commonly we'll talk to a brand and like, hey, don't rely just on paid social. Use other areas to get revenue coming in, because that also makes, like for example, Facebook. The more data Facebook has, even outside of Facebook, it's going to be better. But from your vantage point, like why should brands consider like working with creators and not just only focusing on like paid social, which might seem like more of a a better dial or an easier dial that you can scale up and scale down? Like what are some other reasons they should consider to not just put all their eggs in like a paid social basket?
So paid social, you're basically counting on the algorithm to give you the right information. That
Right.
this because you can get granular. Like, I want X amount of income. I want them to live here. I want them to be into health and wellness. Like, you can't ask the consumer directly. You're going off of what Facebook and Meta is telling you. These consumers. I could tell you, like, I've worked with a lot of brands, and even when I was with automotive, like that was the biggest like gray area of all of our spend. It's like we're spending a lot of money here. and we don't like these was the consumers gonna come to our dealership anyway? Like
Right. Sure.
they would attribute 100% of every sale we've got
Right.
to the paid ad,
Right.
and it's like I'm pretty sure that customer lived behind the dealership and was gonna come here anyway. I'm pretty sure they serviced with us, and our service department was like, hey, you should test drive the new car. So it's like it's such a gray area. And do I think that there's a need for paid social? Yes, but I honestly don't think it's as much as it was 10 years ago. I think that
Yeah.
it needs
Sure.
to be a small part. But using a creator, think about this. Creators do business in reverse. Let's say I do content. I wear black tank tops a lot. Like that's all I wear is black tank tops. And my audience that wants to, like you don't follow somebody on social media because you like a brand they work with. You follow them because you like their personality, you like their lifestyle. They're giving you they're bringing you value of some kind. You don't like them because of what they wear. But let's just say like I have an audience that also likes what I wear. Like they're following me now. They're like, man, David wears black tank tops all the time. That's cool. I want to wear black tank tops all the time. So I have an audience that now wants to be somewhat like me, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But now all of a sudden, like I have an audience that loves black tank tops and wellness. Now all I need to do is be like, hey guys, I notice a lot of you comment on my black tank top that
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
out in
Yeah.
all the time. Now I just need a brand to put in front of them that solves their problem. Because
Right.
like you with Legends, right? Like Lulu, I've worn Lulu and I don't like the material. I have calluses and I always
Mm-hmm.
gets caught
Yeah.
on it. It's too soft. Diori is the same thing. I love those brands, like, but man, like my calluses just like char them up and it's like chalkboard. But Legends, I love Legends. And when I first
Yeah.
started, I purchased a lot of Legends before I started working with them. And it's a great partnership now, but it's like we do business in reverse. We create an audience, and all we have to do is find a brand that solves a problem for our audience and put it in front of them. And they're like, thank you.
Yeah.
I needed somebody to
Yeah.
tell me
Yeah.
what to get. Like
Right.
I needed somebody
Yeah. Yeah.
to
That's a great
show me
example.
that there's another brand out there other than Lulu, or to show me that there's another cold plunge out there other than taking an ice bath.
Right.
Creators have the audience that the brands, not all of them, but like you have to find the creator that has the audience that the brand wants. And they're out there, but once you find the creator that has the audience you want, you gotta commit to them. You gotta actually kind of see it through a little bit long term. Because once again, going back to the whole 1 month, 2 month, 3 month deals, which everybody wants to, hey, let's just try it for 3 months. It's just weird when it's a flash in the pan to the
Yeah. Sure.
consumer, to the audience.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so tell me about like payment structure. So keep in mind, we have brand new brand owners that they don't know what they're doing here. It's a whole new ballgame for them. So what are the different types of like payment structures that would typically be in place when working with a
So you can get away with affiliate structures probably 90% of the time. And that's a great, like, it's not an MLM, but it's kind of like MLM-y, like where
Yeah.
you have little brand ambassadors who are just showing off your product. Oh man, yeah, use code MOSS. Like you can get this hat. I keep using the hat because I'm on the table and I don't have anything else to use. But it's like you got affiliates that are, and you can't control the content they're going to really create. Like I get
Okay.
a bunch of emails from brands that I've worked with in the past that, were like my first deals, and they were all affiliate deals and stuff. And some of the products were really great. I do love them and I'll share all the time. But some of the products were like, that doesn't really fit my lifestyle. And luckily I didn't do long-term deals with them, but I'm still on their affiliate emails. So I'll get their email briefs. It's like, hey, this month we're going to focus on this. Dude, make the email shorter. Like every email I get is so long. I'm not reading it.
Yeah.
No one's going to read it. Your own
Okay.
team's not reading it. So if you're going to brief somebody, like high level, one sentence, this month we're going to talk about the material the hat's made out of. Choosing the hat again. But that's one thing. Affiliate, there is definitely like, that's a really cool way to get your brand out there to a lot of people. But you got to also invest in sending product. Like there's one thing about the affiliate side is it's like, if you send somebody free product, say it's $100 worth of whatever this, a supplement or a drink or a snack or whatever, like if you send every affiliate $100 worth of free product and they do one natural organic post that they are hoping somebody uses their code, dude, that's a billboard. I mean, like that's the cheapest billboard you'll ever find in your life.
Sure.
But it's when you expect these people, these affiliates, to just continuously buy your product. Like there's other brands out there. Your brand's not the greatest. So there's other brands out there. So if you really want, and there's a lot of brands I can point out that have done a great job with that. that I don't work with, but like ones like Athletic Greens, they did a great job of just sending
Yeah.
creators product.
Okay.
I
And not just
saw
once, it sounds like.
not just once, no, like they just send it. Like you want to
Yeah.
talk about their product, they'll just send it.
Interesting.
I don't work with them by choice, but there's a lot of brands out there that do a really good job, and everyone's probably heard the name Athletic Greens. That's the thing. Like they're greens. Greens have been around for 20, 30 years. It's not new, but everyone has heard of Athletic Greens because not just because of Andrew Huberman, not just because of a few of their big partners,
Hmm.
but they just started seeing it all over social media.
Yeah. Right.
And people's stories and pouring their little greens in their drink, or maybe they posted it. Maybe they made a reel about it. You never know what you're going to get from a creator, but you're going to get zero if you don't send them product. So if you
Right.
have a product you can send, man, find every creator that you can find their address to and just send it. I'm
Okay.
on this
Even without them requesting it, like send it.
even without them requesting it. Dude, I get paid for pretty much every post I make, but I'll get products sometimes from companies that'll give me this handwritten note. I've never even heard of them, but they'll send me a handwritten note. Dude, love what you're doing. Love your content. I just wanted to send this to you. No obligation. I'll post a free story for that.
Interesting.
Like if it's
Interesting.
a
Yeah.
good product, like if it's, if it's something that fits my lifestyle, but you're getting a free story basically
Right.
out of me. And I'm not the biggest influencer out there, but I can tell you, 87,000 people saw your product, and it cost you $30 to ship me a bag of
Right.
protein and
Yeah.
a handwritten note. Cause
Yeah.
like that's
Interesting.
me. Not everybody is the same way. I have a heart for people who do that personal touch.
Hmm.
There's also been products that have been sent to me with no personal touch, and I just let my kids eat it and I throw it away.
Yeah. Right. So the personal touch really stands out to you.
Personal, dude, when I get a handwritten note, I have a whole box of handwritten notes from founders. And I'm just, it's kind of one of those things, like I hope these brands blow up and become household names. And I have this little, like, this little card
Yeah.
from when
Yeah.
they first started out. Like that's kind of the cool
Yeah.
part.
Right. And I'm assuming that it's clear that they've actually engaged or gone through your content. Like I assume that
Yeah.
it's not just a handwritten note that could be sent the same one to 50 people, that there's some sort of
No,
personalization to it, I imagine.
no. And I get real excited when somebody's like, bro, you changed my life. I've been binge watching your
Hmm.
content. I bought a cold plunge because of you. And I get that a lot. I get that multiple times a day. And it's so fulfilling. I think that's like,
Yeah.
what I loved about the car business was like helping someone solve their problem and getting them a car that solved their need, that fulfilled a need. And now being able to do that around the world and like having conversations with people through
Yeah.
YouTube and Instagram that, it's like, man, like your content really helped. That's like the most fulfilling part. And to be able to do it
Yeah.
on a global scale is so, so fun.
I bet. Okay, cool. So affiliates. What else? So affiliate, my understanding again, just be clear, is there's no like ongoing arrangement. It's a promo code, and probably that promo code, it typically has a discount for the consumer and for the affiliate. What? And I know these don't have to be your numbers, but in general, what's like a standard affiliate
It's usually like 10 and
commission?
10.
Okay.
It's usually 10 and 10. And the problem with that, and it's not a problem, but like there, the affiliate program doesn't necessarily like get me excited on smaller, inexpensive products. Like if it's a, $30, $50 supplement or drink or
Hmm.
snack or something like that. I don't get so stoked on the whole promo code thing. I could put the same effort into a cold plunge and, make 100 to 200x what I could make putting the same effort into an inexpensive product. So that leads to the next thing. So affiliate is like usually 10 and 10. Sometimes it's more. I have affiliates where my commission's up to 75% of the
Interesting.
purchase. Yeah, so it's
I
not
imagine
always
that's
10 and
like
10. That's just
a
kind of,
repeatable, like first order
yeah.
75. Is that first order? Is that how that works?
No, it's repeatable, and it's a subscription based
Interesting.
product. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it
Okay.
depends on the product. Like if it's a digital product that there's no cost of goods, like
Yeah.
that's
Right.
easier to give a higher percentage. If it's a product that there is cost, I mean, and there is
Hmm.
shipping and there is this, like that changes things a little bit. So
Yeah.
the
Interesting.
affiliate is definitely not clear cut. Like there's definitely a lot of flexibility there. But if I could encourage anything, like make the discount code for your affiliate more than they're going to get if they just visit your website and have that pop up.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
that's like my
Exactly.
number one frustration. It's like, you give me a 10% discount code to share with my audience, but then they go to your website and a pop up, hey, 20% off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I get, like, I get it, but make your affiliate codes at least match your biggest discount that's available. It doesn't have to be 10%. Just,
because it
and we
actually
don't have to
takes
share
authority
that.
from you. It takes
It
like
does.
it makes you look like you're not providing as much of a value to your audience as any random person.
Dude, and the most frustrating thing ever is when that doesn't happen. And that's why I've negotiated that in every one of my contracts is like, I want a fluctuating discount code. I want it to match whatever your sale is. Because if I did the work, I put the hard work in, I got the consumer to leave my social media, which hurts me, to go to your website because of me. Like, I track everything through tiny URLs. So like every single click to a website I see. A life hack for all content creators. Everyone should definitely do that. But basically, like, I own all my own links. So if someone goes to dmjr.co/icebarrel, use that for example, because I've said it a couple of times. I see that click. I see it came from an iPhone. I see it came from America. I see they stayed on the site X amount of time. Whatever. I see they came from my Instagram or came from YouTube. It tracks all that stuff, which is cool. But then they go to that website and then a pop-up is like, hey, we're having a sale and it's more of a discount than I'm allowed to give them. Well, then that customer's like, why would I not? And they don't know. So they're going to use the bigger discount. I did the work and I don't get paid for it. So that's, to a creator, the most frustrating thing. And that leads it from affiliate to like a real partnership, retainer. And this is what you want to do. If you have a creator with a larger audience, like myself, who has an audience, who you want that billboard, you want that organic product placement, but it's not always going to be attributed to their code. You definitely want to invest in a partner where it's a long-term deal, 6 months to 12 months, and maybe even ongoing from that. If it's somebody that you're like, all right, I've investigated this guy. I see he's a faithful man. I see he's been married for X amount of years. He's got kids. His family's a part of his content. He fits our moral compass. His content fits our moral compass. His audience fits who we want to have our product in front of. All right, we're going to do a 6-month, 12-month deal with this guy. And we're going to pay him $5,000 a month as a retainer to keep him on our team so that he can naturally and organically talk about our product throughout the month. And sure, there's deliverables too. Like for me, I like to do a YouTube video once a month because that is a Googleable, search-friendly, evergreen evergreen video that is very like, it gets more detailed into the product and it's very low funnel. So kind of bookmark the whole partnership thing and let's talk about the difference between like short form and long form. So vertical content, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, Snapchat, LinkedIn, whatever, all that short form entertainment, billboard style content. You're putting the product in front of the customer, but most of the time, very, very rarely, it's a very small percentage of them are going to leave that content and go purchase. If you invested the same amount of dollars or a little bit more, because it's a little more effort, into long form, here's where it gets really special. So I have videos that I produced 2 years ago on products that are still relevant today that still convert sales from a piece of content I made 2 years ago. Wow. There's not one Instagram reel any brand has ever seen from 2 years ago that's still producing sales. And that's why YouTube's more expensive, because it costs more to produce those videos. Definitely takes more time, effort, editing, and equipment. But YouTube is like, if you want to really grow long term and you have a product that you know is going to be around for a long time, I would invest in some YouTube content. Not your own. It needs to be third party. Like a lot of brands are like, oh, cool, we'll make our own content. It never works out. Right. It's weird. Sure. It almost never works out. Like even Nick Bear, everyone knows Nick Bear is BPN, but the BPN like YouTube channel doesn't always work out. And Nick Bear's content crushes it. Right. Yeah. And everyone, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm hate to use him as an example. He's actually a bad example, but a good example because he's an awesome dude. But like, that's kind of like a third party individual personality always converts more than the brand specific content that's very first person and very biased as it would just seem. So
yeah, that makes sense.
when you do
So
long form content, it lasts a lot longer and it's low funnel. People are going to Google and they're like, all right, I see a couple people talking about athletic greens. Let's see if it's really good. So you Google, is athletic greens really good? You don't go to YouTube, but you Google it, or whatever, you search it.
right,
What's the first thing that pops up? Videos.
right, yeah,
So, and then people
not
find a
reels.
video, they click it, and it's like a 5 to 10 minute video where it explains what's actually in them, what the real benefits are, what the risks, pros, cons, blah, blah, blah. And that person has given you value as a consumer, and you're like, oh, this person has a discount code too. I'll just use that. Click.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. So on the partnerships, like retainers, like you mentioned, like where you're doing a 6, 12 month, whatever it might be. But how specific do those deliverables like need to be for a brand? So imagine if I'm a brand owner, I'm thinking like I don't want to just leave it up to the creator because they might do nothing, which might be the fear, that they
yeah, yeah,
have.
you definitely need to
Because I
have
imagine,
deliverables.
yeah. So how does that work? Like, is it so specific to where, all right, I checked these boxes, I did these things and that's it? Or do you keep it
Mhm.
more open so the creator feels more invested and they're wanting to share more? Like, how does that work?
So for me, I can only speak on myself. I have a couple friends who are big creators who have some similar partnerships, and it's different for everybody. I don't lack creative ideas. So pretty much every brand I work with, they have a brief that they'll send to other creators, and they'll send to me. Like literally, I get the email, and it's like, "Hey, David, here's the brief, but feel free to do whatever you want to do."
Hmm.
So it depends on your creator. And sometimes I'll call the founders or I'll call my point of contact to the brand and be like, hey, I need some direction this month. And then they're like, oh, cool. Yeah, here's what we're, hoping you could talk about this month. So here's what I would suggest not doing. But then again, this is me. I'm only talking about myself. I cannot read a script. Um,
Okay,
I
yeah.
cannot, I cannot be given like, hey, you have to say it like this.
Hmm.
I have to be able to be myself. So, and my audience would know. Like, if I was to read a script, like I've got 500 videos on YouTube, people would know if I was reading a script.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I tell brands like, hey, I can't read a script, but I definitely would love some facts. I would love some information, some studies, some information that is hard hitting and separates you from the other competitors. Give me the facts, and then I'll regurgitate it the
Yeah.
way I need to.
Yeah.
But here's a pretty standard deliverable. Like, let's say you do a 6 month deal with a creator like me and you commit to X amount of dollars as a retainer. So here's the thing too. It's not just a retainer. Usually it's retainer plus commission plus product.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it can be a big investment. And for a small
Yeah,
brand
sure.
that's just starting out, it can be a lot of money. And there's been a lot of small
Yeah.
brands that have approached me and I'm like, hey, like I would love to work with you, but like I'm literally going to put the exact same amount of time in your product as I would with this product who's going to pay me X amount of dollars that
Yeah,
I already
right.
love. So I would love to work with you, but we got to start somewhere. We got to start smaller. So I have like an a la carte menu where it's like, if you
Okay.
want some stories, per reel, per post on Instagram, but then on YouTube, it's also a la carte based off of time. Like, hey, if you want this to be just a short,
Hmm.
less than 5 minute, quick, like, hey, I just wanted to share about this product. It's X amount of dollars. That's like the product specific video that people can Google, people can find, people can get information from. But even a step down from that, and this is a really good entry into a YouTuber space, is like doing a 30 or a 60-second mid-roll ad. So it's like,
Okay. Yeah.
let's say I'm in my kitchen and I'm here, me and you were talking, we're having a good time, and I'm just going to grab this and drink. Be like, oh man, I love Paleo Valley coffee. Like Paleo Valley coffee to me is one of the best coffees because, I'm saying best like
Hmm.
being an idiot, but that's not what I would normally say. But anyway, like I love Paleo Valley coffee. I love it. It's polyphenol full, whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
it's me having a conversation in the middle of my video about a product. It's
Yeah.
authentic, it's real.
Yeah.
But that product placement, like, and those aren't cheap, but they're also not as expensive as a full video. And that's a
Okay.
really good way to get into the YouTube space, at least because
Interesting.
as a
Yeah.
YouTuber, here's the cool thing. Here's the cool thing for the brands. This is not the greatest thing for a creator, and I'm sure there are some ways around it, but most creators won't do this. Let's say we did a 6 month deal on mid roll ads. Every month we're going to do one 60-second mid roll ad on a YouTube video. That video lives on YouTube forever. Like it's as long
Yeah.
as
Right.
whatever the main content is, as long as that's still relevant, like people can still find that video.
Right.
And people will see that. It's not, it's in the middle of the video, and it's not like a quick commercial break where it's like scene
Yeah. Right.
changes, my hair changes. It's like obviously a staged commercial where it's like an interruption. This is almost like, man, David's talking about this coffee stuff. It must be pretty good.
Yeah. Right.
So
Right.
they convert sales and they work. But what's also interesting about that is like, after your 6-month contract is up, that video still lives on YouTube. So like you
Yeah.
might not be paying your creator, but you might still see some sales. And that's why retainer salary a month plus commission is good for the brands and the creators, because it also encourages performance. Like if
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
getting
Right.
X amount of dollars as a just a salary, and I'm not getting commission, I'm just going to hit my deliverables, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to
Right.
care if they convert.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Yeah.
how it is. Ask
Sure.
any creator,
Yeah.
put them on a lie detector test. They'll all agree. This is our livelihood. So this is how we make money. Putting them on a performance-based pay plan, like with some brands, I have a salary that starts here, but if I hit X amount of sales every month, my salary goes up, but I also get commission.
Yeah.
So it's like a bonus structure on my retainer based off of dollar amount sold. And then I still get my percentage of commission. So that brand I really enjoy working with, because I get paid a lot of money from them,
Right.
but it's performance based. I'm not getting paid a lot of money for them for one video, and I don't care if it's good. Like I want the video to rock. I want it to convert for 3 reasons. 1, I want them to keep paying me my salary. 2, I want to hit my bonus, and 3, I want the commission. So
right.
that's like that's a good structure for brands to consider.
See.
Is a
Well, I know it varies so much. What's like that like when there is a retainer, what's a commission percentage look like?
It
Like
varies
let's say it's
so
5K,
much.
a month. Like,
Yeah,
are we still talking
usually
10% commission, or what is it more? Is it less?
Well, ask yourself, like, if you have somebody who is converting for you, do you want to skimp on their commission and make them potentially just start talking about another brand? I will tell you this. You can post this anywhere, and I tell the brands this, like, hey, I have a priority list. The brands that pay me more, that's the content that I'm going to produce first.
Yeah,
the brands that pay me less, I'm gonna get to it at the end of the night on the last day of the month, because deliverables are pretty much right there in the month. And it's not that they pay me more; it's that like the brands that I convert more for, that I feel loved from, that the brands fly me places and send me swag without me asking. Like that stuff means something to everybody.
Yeah.
When I'm having to ask for product, like if there's brands that like we have these 6-month, 12-month deals with, and I'm running out of product, and I'm like, hey, I'm out. That's annoying. Like I should never have to ask for a product. You should overload your creators with products, because also not only are they sharing it online, but like I give this stuff to people all the time.
Yeah, right.
And they turn into consumers, because they're like, dang, like I would have never bought these creatine gummies because they're $50 a bag. But now I've tried them, and my kids love them, and now I'm on a subscription. Like I hear that so often. It's like we need the product so that we can share it with people in person too. It's not just for us.
Absolutely. Yep. For sure. Yeah. It's funny, by the way, I was I'm here in Italy for a few months, and my parents came and joined us, and they're at dinner. I'm like, what gummies are you taking? Like, those are creatine, of course. And that's because, I got them onto that because, one of you guys got me onto it. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
dude.
So basically we've got the affiliates, and then we've got like a partnership retainer. And with that partnership retainer, of course, it changes. And what I'm hearing from you fundamentally is the more the brand takes care of the creator, just inevitably the creator wants to take care of the brand. And so,
that's a normal relationship.
Retainers. Yeah, that's life, right? That's human. And when you're taken care of, not just in good commissions and retainers, but also not feeling like you're having to ask for products, and like feeling like you're begging for that. So, okay, cool. So wrapping up here, let me just look here if there's anything that I want to really make sure. Yeah, on that same thing, from a creator standpoint, tell me about like a new brand. As a creator, do you have any, are you either more excited or more hesitant to work with a brand new brand? Or how does that work?
I love it. So my strategy is I want to have a conversation with the founder of the brand before I even try the product.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not the founder, if it's someone who's heavily involved in the creative side of it, who has been a part of creating the product. Like if it's a product if it's a protein powder and it's just a whey protein powder, no, I won't get excited about that.
Yeah, sure.
Unless the founder is awesome and he's like, hey, this isn't just whey. This comes from Norwegian narwhals that are grass fed. You know, I mean, like it's got to be something special. But if it's just like if it's just like a every run of the mill whey protein powder, and they're like, hey, this is the best protein powder you're ever gonna have, and I look at the ingredient list and it's the exact same protein powder everyone else has, they just white labeled their own product on it, I don't get excited about that. If it's like masa chips, for example, like Ancient Crunch, they're making some amazing new age, and they're expensive, but they're making some amazing chips. Sorry. They have tortilla chips, and now they have potato chips using organic mixed metabolized corn and organic potatoes. Redmond Real Salt, which I work with Redmond. I love Redmond Real Salt. They're phenomenal. So they're using a really good quality salt that I already have been using for the past 7 years. And then they're using grass-fed beef tallow to fry them. So they're not making them in seed oils. So for somebody like me, we don't want our kids to be overran with seed oils, even though it's super hard. That's one investment that I would be willing to make if they didn't send me chips. That's one investment I would be willing to make forever, because now I've been introduced to this product that I've never even heard of.
Right.
So to answer your question, a new brand, if you've got a product that's pretty new, that's pretty different, you know what I mean? Like, and it kind of fits the lifestyle of the creator you're looking for. Yeah, I get excited. I get really excited about some products. And then there's some that send me and I'm like, it's just another protein. It's just another pre-workout. Like, there's nothing exciting about this. And the sad part is, and I have to be a little brutally honest sometimes with the people who do communicate with me. Like, if I get an email and it's like, hey, we just sent you some product, hope you like it, no obligation. And they're nice, but they send me the product and they're like, yeah, this is the best pre-workout you'll ever have. And I look at the ingredients and it's got a bunch of junk in it that I won't take. Tell them like, hey man, like, I'm stoked for you. I'm so glad you love it. I can't take this. And then they're like, why? Like, why can't you take it? Well, I'm kind of an ingredient snob. So is my wife. And I let her look at the ingredients before I do. And then I do. And it's like, if it doesn't pass her test or my test, we're just not going to take it, man. So I'm sorry. And it's hard. Like, it's hard, but like, I'm not the creator for you. There's a million other creators out there that are the creator for you. That's the thing. Like, don't get beat up if like a creator is brutally honest with you that they won't take your product or they don't like your product or they're not going to accept your terms. There's a billion other creators out there who are just dying for the opportunity to work with a brand like yours. So if I could give advice to a younger, newer brand that's just trying to get their foot in the door in the creator space, I might not be the creator for you. The list that you have of creators that you probably want to work with, they may not be in your budget right now. Doesn't mean they won't be ever. And I would definitely encourage you to reach out to them. But just know, like, I'm a pretty small creator. I have 87,000 followers on Instagram and like 49,000 on YouTube. I'm a pretty small creator when it comes to my following. I convert a lot of sales, which that's kind of my like claim to fame here.
Yeah. Right.
But there's, unfortunately, like not unfortunately, it's fortunate. I have a manager. So if you try to reach out to me, I respond to everything, but I also will, if I want to work with you, I'll attach my manager to it. So you'll talk with her about my fees and about all the stuff.
Okay, smart.
And a lot of times I'm finding newer brands cannot afford, like they want to, but they can't afford to do something with me right now. Still send the product. Because if it's a good product, you might get some free stuff on Instagram. You might get some free mentions. Still send the product. I would actually, don't get discouraged. Still, hey, like I want to send them some product to try. Still send product. Because if it is as good as you think it is, then the creators might show some love for free. Won't always happen, but it might happen. And then also remember, like, the list you have right now of the people you would love to work with, because they have your audience, they're going to cost money. They're not free. They're not, the audience isn't going to be free. But then also think about it. Like, if you knew for a fact that you could buy some Google AdWords, spend some money on Meta, and it would convert sales and it would put your product in front of your exact audience you want, how much would you spend? And that's I feel like the mental block is, it's like, okay, I can justify spending money on Google AdWords and Meta and all this stuff, but I can't justify investing in a creator who has already built an audience who wants my product. Doesn't make sense. Right. But unfortunately, that's how a lot of people think. And then the third part of that is there's a lot of other creators who would just love to share your product. So start small. Like, if you're a smaller brand and you don't have the budget, find people who are just trying to break out in the health and wellness space. And I have a Rolodex of people who are like, man, how did you get to this point? or you can be a
Mhm.
full-time creator. I did a lot of free stuff. I did a lot of free
Mhm.
content because honestly,
Yeah, sure.
I didn't need the money, but I also didn't know that you could get paid to do this stuff. And, and it's wild. But that's
Yeah.
why I started the Creators Playbook to help other creators and even brands. Like there's a lot of information in the Creators Playbook that's targeted towards brands and can
Oh,
teach
good to
you.
know.
Well, a lot of what we're talking about here is in the playbook too, just deeper dives into
Yeah.
it.
Right.
So it's not
Cool.
just for creators, but also I found that some of the brands, like brands that I work with, I'm like, hey, you might want to just check out the Creators Playbook. It's $97. It's not going to like
Yeah.
ruin your life if
Right.
you don't get any value out of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy smokes, like this was actually good. So it's
Okay.
exciting to have something like that that can help not only creators but also brands.
Yeah, awesome, man. Cool. Well, hey, so by the way, that makes me know that I want to check out the course creator, what it's called. Yeah, the creators playbook. I'll check it out because I'm gonna get some benefit as a brand owner. And where can other brand owners find you?
Instagram, I'm very active on Instagram. If anyone wanted to talk to me, just send me a private message or anything at Instagram on Instagram at DMAUSJR. So like my name, David Moss Jr., but D, then Moss, then Jr. And then on YouTube, just my name, David Moss Jr. Try to keep it super simple.
Awesome. Yeah, and one of the things just that resonated with me with what you do is like you mentioned, like you're selling 7 figures a month. Like you actually know how to sell product. You know how to, but do it in an authentic way, which is a very interesting combination. But I think you try and teach people. You do teach creators on how to do that well with what you do. So anyway, David, thanks for the time. I appreciate it. I know a lot of the brands got a lot of value here, and my head's spinning. So I appreciate it, dude.
I appreciate the time, man. It's always great talking to you, and I'll see you in about 10 days for our run around Manhattan.
Exactly.